It's hard to be water. Brenda Hillman. Think of me, river water, deep flowing, silver-backed, slipping through canyons, tumbling into pools of green, over rough-skinned rocks, between roots of trees. Think of me, when the sun rises and turns black ink into gold, and night falls and I hold a sky of stars. Think of me, as I shimmer in a meadow, a ribbon of light in a sea of grass. Think of me as I journey from glacier down mountainside and scarred slopes, into wells deep in the earth where I pool, warmed by fire. As I shapeshift from steam to ice, raindrop to snow crystal, spill into oceans and rise as mist above rainforests. Think of me through your veins, dripping into every crest and valley of your being, for whenever you think of me, in whatever form, I am always the same river. Journal entry, August 13th, 2011. From Reclaiming the Wild Soul, How Earth's Landscapes Restore Us to Wholeness, by Mary Reynolds Thompson. When starting a reflective process, to ground and be present contributes to a deeper inward looking. This journal entry speaks to how, as we travel through life, we may experience many different outward experiences, but we will forever be that same pure river at the core. Through this reflective portfolio, I will examine the images that were taken as part of the SM024 class. This image is a non-selfie. I will be using the showed technique. This is a common practice with the use of photo voice to allow participants to examine the work that they have produced. Showed is an acronym for what do you see in the photograph, what is really happening here, how does this relate to our lives, why do these issues exist, and what can we do to help address these issues. The selfie, the S is for rocks, water, leaves, shadow reflections, reality and surreal imagery. H, a slowing down of looking, acknowledging the deep layers, a sense of contemplation. O, a recognition of recent events, how there are many layers to work through, to observe, acknowledge and work with. W, thinking through the theory lens, taken to the psychological niche, attachment theory, trauma and resilience, a recognition of past, present ponderings. D, building resilience, self-esteem, family and friend networks. When examining this image, a few theorists and theories came to mind, the first of which is Ziller and the psychological niche. Ziller writes, the psychological niche is developed through the interaction of the self, environment and behavior, a system with the self as the nucleus serving to control or regulate the relationship between the environment and behavior. I imagine myself in the psychological niche with my environment, theory of how I look at myself and my behavior in a symbiotic relationship, ever changing or ever connected. This led me to attachment theory and to think how attachment theory allows me to examine my past and also look for opportunities where I could see that my attachment style has changed over time. I identify as anxious avoidant working towards a secure attachment. This led me to articles that examine the possibility of earning a secure attachment, as well as neural indicators of attachment style and imagery. In How Can I Become More Secure, Dansby, Olaforte, Fife, Schleiden and Whiting note that earned security is where an adult later in life moves towards a secure attachment. Traditionally, this was thought not to be the case, and that attachment style was static throughout adulthood. Previously, scholars have spoken in two ways to activate positive change. One is having a flexible, less rigid cognitive model, and the second is having support figures. Through the research, they identified three major categories that contributed towards a positive attachment style. Firstly, the meta conditions for earning security being intentional and having surrogates. Secondarily, being able to redefine identity and worth, relinquishing a victim mentality. And finally, making intrapersonal changes by making peace with the past and taking small risks with trust. I identify with these three major categories and can see the growth that has happened throughout my adult life. Another significant move towards secure attachment was involvement with community and also others. Through this earned attachment, allowing to give back. Freely, Gilaith and Dobek found through their research that participants move towards secure attachment through the intensive reflective activities that the research entailed, indicating that introspection helps to move towards a secure attachment. Further research led me to articles that found a correlation to brain activity, attachment, and visual processing. In this paper by Kim, Kent, Cunnington, Gilbert, and Kirby, self-critical cognitions and attachment styles are examined, identifying neural markers and a link between the visual cortex and self-criticism. They found that brain activation in the left anterior insula and left amygdala is associated with compassion and self-criticism. The lingual gyrus, the visual cortex, brain region, was also shown to correlate to those with a greater secure attachment. For secure attached individuals, imagery played a key role, but for insecure, there was a less activation in the visual cortex. A reason for this could be to reduce the activation with visual imagery. This relates to the last article on expressive therapy. Clora's article also identifies that trauma memories are indicated by right brain activity, implying that being able to verbalize trauma may be more challenging. In Clora's experience, expressive therapies are more successful with clients as there is less reliance on left brain language processing. Through these creative processes, participants can access emotions from the past. They also note that self-generated images have the greatest power for change. Creating the non-selfie allowed me to reflect on my current self. Having just experienced a personal trauma, I sought deeper reflective processing and delving deeper into the past. Kaplan notes in their 5 factors for coping in crisis intervention that issues from the past can reawaken from the process. This led me to how I am discovering a change in attachment style. Also, the act of creating the image and writing reflectively with the ability to share with peers allowed me to reach these conclusions. Having the ability to represent myself in non-physical form allowed for that deeper, self-reflective processing. In comparison to a traditional selfie, I recognize that through the process of creativity and examining this image, and with the support of peers, I've built upon my own self-efficacy and self-esteem. The image acted as a unique snapshot of time, looking closely at this current version of myself. And looking at self-esteem as an outcome of therapeutic photography work, I have experienced this through the introspective nature of photography. In an article, Autophotography as Research Practice, Noland identifies work from Lorraine and Berger that these chosen self-representations guide us, but are also a slice of perception at one place in time. The research also found that participants could find representations of self in their environment. Having time and space allowed them to have deep thinking in this representation, contributing to a measurement of self-esteem. I too feel the non-selfie process has allowed for growth in self-esteem. I will end with a quote. "Flourishing is not a solo endeavor." Barbara Fredrickson, 2010. Positivity. We live in rapidly changing times. Our existence as humans on this planet is perilously in doubt. Yet we see in action individually and collectively. We all have a part to play in the future. Climatography uses therapeutic photography techniques as a vehicle to mobilize and encourage global citizens to enact change. It provides space to build community. Photography is an accessible way for participants to discover their creative voices, increasing capacity for climate action through empowerment. This is enacted through a series of photographic exercises and discussions that allow the complex issues of the climate crisis to surface. With safe places for discussion, this builds capacity for widening conversations with our networks and communities. The ability to express our unique voices, we build capacity and confidence to take action. While economic and political changes are needed, citizen action will create the biggest impact. To make this work available to those most affected, work with non-profits will be funded by corporate team-building photographic programs. This should create a sustainable platform to provide workshops for non-profits. We can all move from inaction to action, and climatography can help.